But really, you have to think about what is it that mobility is doing, what is its mission, so that
Hmm.
then everything else that you do from there is designed to support that mission, that goal.
So, Mike, mobility mission statements. We've
Hmm.
been writing quite a few lately. Why do you think all of a sudden we're doing this more with our projects?
I think it's a really good question, and it's really interesting because mobility programs are being asked to do so much more than they were in the
Hmm.
past. And I think now that companies are really sort of thinking about what does the mobility program need to deliver to support business goals. And as part of that, yeah, we're working with projects to understand stakeholder feedback, look at what the design principles are for a new mobility program. But really, you have to think about what is it that mobility is doing, what is its mission, so that
Hmm.
then everything else that you do from there is designed to support that mission, that goal. So I think it's sort of it's a new step in the process of assimilating what it is that mobility needs to do for the business, and then making sure that all the design work that you do leads back and ties back into it. So it's a great way of being able to demonstrate what it is that you're trying to achieve with the mobility program.
And it's interesting too, like who's the audience for a mobility mission statement? Is it the business so they know what mobility is doing? Is it the people within mobility to have like that
Mm.
compass going forward to help direct them? Like which do you feel
I,
like it is?
I think it's a bit of both, really.
Yeah.
There's that sense that by making a mission statement, it gives you something tangible that you can feed back to the business, to your stakeholders to say, we've listened to you, this is what we've heard, this is what mobility is intended to deliver for the organization. And then you can get that buy-in and people can confirm or say, actually, no, it's not. We think mobility's role is something different. So you can use it to really cement in people's minds in your wider stakeholder group what it is that mobility is intended to do. And then also, I think the second advantage is exactly as you say. It's then a tool to be used internally, because you can then, when you're updating your policy, when you're looking at the way you organize your operating structure,
Hmm.
when you look at each of the different assets, your vendor environment, when you look at each of those, you can tie it back to that mission statement, and that becomes like the North Star or the guiding light of everything that you do. Does it support the mission? If it does, fantastic. If it doesn't, then why are you doing it? You need to reevaluate if it's the right thing to be done.
Yeah. And it totally, I mean, it ties into what you were saying about the stakeholder interviews being so crucial when you're developing a mobility mission statement. Because if your stakeholders are mobility or your stakeholders are, people within the broader business, hearing exactly what they're saying and what they're looking for, like that totally just all works together to form a perfect mission statement. I know this work is really fun to, come up with. It's nice so that people feel like they're being heard, but then you can also show your stakeholders we are listening to you and we're trying to deliver better value for you.
Exactly. And it's fascinating because when you have those meetings with all your stakeholders, you get different perspectives, different points of view. And when you start to assimilate all of that and put it into a mission, that's when it gets really, really fun. And then, you know, how do you present a mission within your organization? Sometimes mission statements, we do all this work and it ends up being 4 sentences. In other
Hmm.
cases, they're very diagrammatic. Sometimes they're sort of quite sort of text heavy. So it's
Hmm.
really interesting understanding the culture of the organization. What does a mission mean in different companies? And that's what's fun about doing it, is that you get to really get under the skin of the organization to know what's going to resonate, what's going to work in that company, and how do you put that mission across in a way that's going to work for that company. So yeah, you're right, they're great fun to work with, as well as delivering sort of incredible amount of value to the program.
Yeah. And I think with mission statement projects too, like you have to challenge your assumptions on what a mission statement should look like. Because exactly to your point, sometimes it's a diagram, sometimes it's a slide, sometimes it's 2 sentences. And so when we bring everybody in a room and we start talking about them, it's really interesting to see people's, assumptions on what a mission statement should be, and then see what the end value is, because no two mission statements are exactly alike.
No, absolutely not. What I think also is really interesting is the way in which, for some organizations, it's really important to tie that mission statement to the overall business mission statement.
Hmm.
So one of the things that we do in these projects is always look at the company mission and the company values and see how we bring those in, but also at the HR level, what are the broader HR mission goals, and then how does mobility fit into that sort of context, and what are the key words that you use to bring in. Some companies really, want to have their mobility mission statement anchored in their overall HR mission and the corporate mission, but others are really very much focused on, what is it that the mobility does, and we're going to communicate that in a way that makes sense to us to be able to communicate to the wider business. And again, that's sort of part of the fun, getting people in the room and hearing those different perspectives and bringing all of that together to be able to give one very succinct document that gives that overall view. And then from there, you can start to look at, well, what are the design principles that we're going to
Hmm.
put in place to deliver on that mission statement.
Yeah. And I think when you say that, with every word matters in a mobility mission statement, and
Mm.
thinking about every single word so clearly to make, the best statement possible, I think it's such a good discovery experience for the mobility team itself. Then to be able to share that back with the business, I think it really just strengthens the team. It gives them a good foundation going forward. And I think these projects are great whether, a motion statement is desperately needed or the team just needs kind of a refresh and somewhere to restart themselves and, establish further credibility with the business. I think these are great projects and really helpful for any mobility team.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Both fun to do, really great way to get under the skin of a program, understand what mobility is about in the organization, and help to get everyone on the same page as you then move forward from there.
Absolutely.